We are back on Let's Start a Band podcast. Today is a massive one. There's a version of the music industry that tells you it's simple: get a deal, get a manager, get a PR, get a playlist, get famous. Spangled didn't do any of that. Four lads from Manchester, no major label, no big album, but a fan base so loyal they will travel the ends of the country to be here. Headlined a 1,500 cap venue. On the same night, Brits came to their city, and they even told Noel Gallagher the door's open if he fancied some real rock and roll. Over 1 million streams at this Feeling record deal. A debut apparently being written in Rails right now. We'll wait to hear about that, and we will see. I'm very excited. This is Let's Start a Band. Let's jump straight into it. Guys, if I was to join your band, what would shock me most about rehearsals?
Probably how late Jamie is.
Yeah, that's very true. I do organise them, and I'm never there on time, unfortunately.
So that's something I'd have to get used to. Obviously, guys, 1 million streams, no major label. Most bands have, for those numbers, have a huge machine behind them. How on earth have you done it? Genuinely, where's that come from? Have you got the best fans in all the land?
So it's just gradual organic growth, isn't it? We've been all looking great for years now. You okay, mate? Come on, Shag. There he's back. He's back. Yeah, we've just been plugging away at it for years, and we've done it purely out of enjoyment and just loving music, and the people that have come along with us are in it for that reason as well. So it's just gathered momentum in like a really organic way, which is nice because we've got a really good foundation of that, whereas others might sort of take off overnight and do well for a little bit, and then it will just gradually plateau after that. Whereas we've got a really nice foundation, I think.
Absolutely. And obviously, let's talk about Manchester, because you can't really escape, the history, Stone Roses, Oasis. As a band being from there, do you feel like it's a gift or a curse when starting out?
I'd say it's a gift more than anything. It's probably the main inspiration. It was for us anyway when we first started going. Especially them two bands that were mentioned there, as well as like the Smiths and Joy Division and other ones like that. They sort of they laid the groundwork for bands in Manchester who are sort of up and coming. And the inspiration's on your doorstep. Everywhere you look, there's references to Oasis. There's murals on the wall. There's people walking around with lemons tattooed on their foreheads or something like that. Like it's everywhere in Manchester. So you can't really say. It'd be wrong for us to say it puts us at a disadvantage because we're from there. We use that. You can hear it in our music as well as you can hear it, and probably I'd say every Manchester band's music to a certain extent. So yeah, I like it.
Mate, it's good to hear that and being proud of where you're from and where that's going, which is absolutely fantastic. I want to talk about, I was at the Musos. I got invited down by Mikey from This Feeling, and I see you boys walk on stage. A bit of a weird one playing an award show, but my God, the feeling in that room when you were playing was brilliant. And I know someone that really supports you is John Kennedy, who's an absolute legend. What do you remember about that night and playing that set?
No,
Did Mikey get some beers sorted out before the gig?
Oh, for sure. That's good. It was a strange one for us, wasn't it? Because we've never done that kind of performance before in that award ceremony setting. So it was a very odd feeling for us, but it was a special moment. Like nonetheless, we all really enjoyed it, and especially enjoyed it after.
yeah, with our set as well. I don't think we've never. That's got to be the shortest set.
Yeah. Call it a set. It's not really.
It's like a sound check, that basically, isn't it? So we basically be able to go out there and give it beans for a sound check. It's like, okay, all right, let's do it. And at the same time, you have to do that, like accept this award. And so, yeah, it was the first award we've ever won, so it was nice to get some recognition from some of the top dogs in the industry. Yeah, it was good fun, and I remember Jamie falling arse over tit a couple of times. That was quite good. Once over the barriers and once off his own bunk bed, I believe.
That sounds like a typical Saturday night, to be fair. It was a midweek gig anyway. Take me back to the very beginning. How did you guys meet? Where's the name come from? Yeah, talk to me about day one.
Go on, Ben or Jamie.
Well, Jamie was in this band called Queen Anne's Revenge. Queen Anne got her revenge because the band ended. And then I said to Jamie, whilst we were at the pub about a year later, I said, listen, I reckon I could just do a bit of singing. Like, let's just start something. And Jamie sort of went along with it, not knowing I was a really good singer. That's because I wasn't. And then he came round, and then I just was, we didn't have our own songs at this point. We were just doing covers and stuff like that. And then it sort of gradually grew from there. And then we got the name Spangled from our mate George Craven, who we were on a night out in 42s in Manchester, and he just said, and he was absolutely smashed, and he just said, mate, I'm Spangled. And we just thought, I like that. We already was familiar with the word, but for some reason the way he said it, it was like, okay, yeah, that's that then, isn't it?
And it stuck. What was the first gig like? Was it a horror story? Do you look back with fond memories?
I think it was all right. The first one, it was like the second one where Niall got absolutely off his bonds. That was not the best performance that we've ever put on, but the energy was good. The energy was definitely there.
Yeah, I got a bit giddy, mate.
Now, I've heard this story. A little birdie told me. I want to you guys tell me if it's true or not. I'm going to come to Ben here. The time you went to Belgium, is it true you got on a wrong train, ended up in the wrong town? Is this true? Is this where kind of beeline to Rose came? Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, we went to get, so basically we were staying in a place in Belgium called Charleroi, and then we had to get a train to Bruges, hence the title Beeline to Bruges, because we wanted to see the city. Lo and behold, we got on a train in the complete opposite direction, and because we'd had a few train beers, we didn't actually realize we were heading in the wrong direction, until one of us sort of zoomed out on his maps on his phone and realized we were actually 2 hours in the other direction, and it already took 2 hours to get to Bruges. So we were there for 4 hours away from Bruges, and it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had to get off at the next stop, which was a place called Anne's. And we thought, all right, we'll just explore Anne's then. So I don't know if anyone's listening and you've been to Anne's, you'll know that it's shit. And people who've not been to Anne's, don't go. It's rubbish. There's nothing there. So then we sort of went around, and we were stuck in Anne's for about an hour or so. Just we were trying to find more train beers for the 4-hour train journey that we had ahead of us to go to Bruges, but there was no shops at all in Anne's. There was just houses and like one school I saw. Eventually we found a shop after an hour of searching for one. Got some beers, got back on the train, managed to get to Bruges at about 7 p.m. Our train home was at 9 p.m. So we sprang to the center of Bruges, and I think we maybe had like 3 or 4 drinks before we then had to sprint back to the train station and then head back to where we were staying.
Well, you got a great song out of it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there you go. I mean, probably still would have written Beeline to Bruges anyway, but there just would have been different lyrics like, "Oh, we got there on time." Yeah, and it would have been a lot happier.
Obviously, you guys sold out Band of the Wall, then you sold out the Ritz. I mean, that's not a small jump. What do you think? Yeah, there'll be a lot of bands listening to this on Spotify, maybe watching on YouTube. What was the big step? How did that happen? How did you go from a band here to band there? 'Cause there'll be a lot of them looking quite envious at that.
Yeah, well, it's like Jamie alluded to before. We've had sort of this organic growth, and I'd probably say over the past couple of years, especially since Joe sort of joined the band, our our live performance, since Shag's joined the band, our live performance have sort of really improved the way we've sort of gone about it, and we certainly feel a lot sharper as a unit now. And that's bringing confidence, and that's sort of when we perform live, we sort of get. I feel like everywhere we go at the moment, we seem to be getting more fans, and then these aren't fans that are just like, oh yeah, I like Spangled. These are fans that are like, I've got to see them again, and then they travel to see us where like anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? So for that jump from Band on the Wall to the Ritz felt natural for us because we sold out Band on the Wall in pretty quick time. It was record time for us. It was like a month, was it?
A month. Yeah.
Yeah, so we gave ourselves a year to do the Ritz, so it made sense for us as well as this plus that organic growth that we were able to do it.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, at the Musos, guys, you talked about a really powerful and emotional story about Isle of Wight. Isle of Wight is a very special place for me. I know it is for this feeling. I go and come to see this talent come through. Can you tell us a little bit about that story, about obviously John, and basically the whole way it kind of came around?
Yeah, so basically we got offered to play our first festival at the Isle of Wight, and my dad John was the driver, so he drove the bus. Was it a bus?
Minivan, small bus.
Drove us to Isle of Wight, and we played on this theme stage, and it was just immense for us because it was like obviously the first time playing outside of Manchester, really, let alone playing a major festival. And my dad was there, and he got to see his son sort of perform at a major festival, doing what he loved. And obviously he completely died that night. It wasn't fun for any of us. Woke up.
That.
He didn't slightly die. It was very traumatic. And we sort of woke up the next morning. Well, I say we woke up. We were still at the festival. We came back to just absolute carnage. Really, it's not something that we particularly want to relive. But what we do take from it is how proud he was of the band, and what he got to do in his last day was like I say, he got to see his son play at a major festival and do the thing that he loved the most. And even after that gig, he was messaging everyone that he knew, sending pictures and videos of the gig, going, "Oh, this was look how well he did," and all this. So, just to know that he had that sort of pride in his heart for this band. For me anyway, the moment I found out that he'd passed away, it was sort of like, well, sort of know what to do now, and then we know which direction to sort of head in. And it's not just for me, it's with Jamie. And he lost his mum as well, and Nikki felt the exact same way that John did about his band. She was absolutely in awe of just coming to watch us and watching us perform live, and we get a buzz on that. And like I said at the Musos as well, when we're on stage and when we're performing these songs, we can sense their presence, even in like the lyrics and even in the performance as well. We mean it more because we're standing on more. Yeah.
It's specifically Good Life Better. I mean, it is a really emotional song. And I was talking to some of your fans before the pod today, and the connection and that crowd and the feeling they have for you guys as a band, but also that song is incredible. I mean, I read some of the reviews from your gig in London, and it's such a powerful thing, music. Such a powerful thing, and how much it means to people, and how proud you're making people is absolutely fantastic. Now, I think I'm going to know the answer to this next question. We're going to ask it anyway. Streaming, you've got over 1 million plays, but you've also got fans who will travel the country for you. Two very different things. Which one matters more, and why?
It's coming.
Yeah.
So good.
When you're playing these shows and people are traveling and they're living it and they're wearing the merch, like, again, talking about that pride, like, even for me as a fan, it's incredible to see that and be part of it. How does it feel on stage when you got people screaming these songs back to you?
I don't think there's any feeling like it, to be honest. Like,
you won't know it until you sort of experience it. And like, especially the thing that really brings it home is when you speak to people after the gig and you're like, oh, so we've got these like little group of people from Hamburg that come and see our big ones in Manchester. And every time it is just mind blowing that these people travel from Germany to come and watch us, like 4 idiots. Like, what the fuck's wrong with them? And then we've got Baz, big legend from the Isle of Wight. He comes like up to Leeds, Edinburgh. He's seen us in like Sheffield, Birmingham. He's seen us all over the country. And it's just mind blowing knowing that these people take time out of like their like week to plan and come and see us for half an hour on a stage. It's mad. Like, it's just mind blowing.
And the excitement around it as well, guys. Like, honestly, the music everyone's talking about before you get on, it really is a spectacle, which is amazing to hear. You've spoken about some of your influences, you know, Stone Roses, Talking Heads, etc. As a band, who do you reckon's had the biggest influence on your sound?
Jamie.
Fun, Jamie. Depends every year in this. Yeah, it's more whoever Jamie likes for the month.
James, yeah, if you see Wolf Alice right now, Jamie, I will literally 5 out to your gaff and slap your head.
Yeah, it's just whoever Jamie is the world's biggest fan of for the month before he then, no, I never liked him. I hate them all along. Well, that's basically how the sound goes.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. No, I'd say more realistically, although that is somewhat true, historically, it's more based in the Smiths and Johnny Marr, Dire Straits, and like Jimi Hendrix from a personal perspective, like the way the guitar melodies are sort of crafted come from that sort of direction.
If you were to meet Johnny Marr in a lift, you've got time for one question. What would you ask him?
I met Johnny Marr 3 weeks ago.
No way.
And he was,
What did you say to him?
well, he was with Roy Keane, so I was more distracted. And I walked past and I went, "You all right?" And they went, and then Johnny Marr was sort of didn't stop to speak, but then Roy Keane just went, "Hi, you all right?" And I was like, yeah. And it was mint.
Were you nervous last second? Because I think I'll be quite nervous going up to those two.
No, I was nervous afterwards. My heart was like, "Oh my God, that was mental." Beforehand, I was just like, "Play it cool, Ben. Play it cool, play it cool."
Mate, I genuinely, in my personal opinion, Johnny Marr is probably the greatest guitarist I've ever seen with my own eyes. And I did create content with him, funny enough, out of the White Festival main stage. And what a dude, man. He was so cool. Like, I think you get a perception of how someone is, but he was just even better than that expectation. It was an absolute pleasure. I want to talk about Gareth Nuttall, produced Good Life Better, and some of the other tracks. He's worked with the K's and Laurie Winners. What does a good producer actually do for a band at your stage? Because a lot of musicians think they can produce themselves, save the money. How have you found it?
I think it's very important for them to let everything breathe a bit, which Gaz does, because he's on our wavelength in terms of how silly we are, and we are very silly. And he will indulge that to some degree, which is really helpful. And the way he's got his own producer language, which I don't know, maybe most producers have this, but if something's shit, he will tell you in the nicest way that it's shit. And you won't even know that he's telling you that it's shit. He will just steer you gently in the right direction of something that is better. I think that's what a good producer would do, is that they'll try and steer you in the right direction without taking either like the fun out of it or any of your own enthusiasm for it. Because it's quite easy to, as all musicians at some point will get like disheartened if someone says, "Oh, that shit," that you're like, "Oh, I thought it was really good." But not everything is really good, and producers have got a special way of telling you that without destroying you.
I remember when we did, because we recorded our like first ever time in the studio, recorded this song called "Sorry Again." Oh, you'd love it. And when we did that, it wasn't with Gaz, it was with someone else, and he was just sort of, I can't remember his name. I can't even remember where it was, so I'm not gonna name names. But he was really like, you just got a sense like he actually just couldn't wait to like leave, and he was actually just there to get paid. And you know, he did do his job technically. He did record it, and he did sort of mix it for us. And we're like, "Yeah, great, thanks." But you know, you can tell with Gaz, you know, he's genuinely invested in it, and he's, you know, this is for him, this is his work as well, because it's coming off from like his production. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, you know, you can tell that. I think a good producer is someone who actually loves what they do, you know, because they do sort of, like, I personally couldn't do it, because you are sort of, a lot of it is sitting down at a desk mixing and, you know, clicking, and then you're up and you're listening to the same, you know, how many times have we listened to like the same riff or the same like vocal bit over and over and over and over again? He has to listen to that, and his ears have to adapt to it, and he has to tune into it, and you can tell that he's sort of in love with the process of it, and I think that helps us, and it gives us confidence a lot for when we're recording, because we know we're in good hands here.
It's extraordinary for me not being in a band. Like, from what you're saying there, you do need to have a connection, and they do need to show care. Like you said, that their name's on it as well, and they want to be proud to put it out. So it's really interesting you saying that. I don't know how much you boys can talk about this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Debut album, possible vinyl collection coming. I believe it's being written in Wales. I don't know how much you can talk about, but the question I want to ask is, what's the pressure of a debut album like? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What can we expect? Yeah, tell us what you can.
That's a good question. Do you want to go first, Ben?
Well, I'm not going to tell you anything. We can say that we're gonna release not an album, but certainly some more songs this year, and we will get that on vinyl. But the debut album we took a trip to Wales to write an album, and write an album we did, and we were very pleased with said album, and you know, but it's sort of in the creative process, I think, for us. And, you know, it might come to a point next year, pipe down, Jamie, next year, where we're like, we might come to maybe recording it. But again, knowing us and the way that our brains work, we'll probably write like 10 songs that we prefer more by this point. So to say that our debut album's written, I wouldn't agree with that, but we've certainly recorded an album. It's a really, really, really good album. But like I say, if we're not releasing it this year, not even recording it this year, so I'd say that is not in the not so distant future, but certainly let's say before the next World Cup, you'll have one. Oh well, that seems fair enough, I think.
Ben, I feel like you've been PR trained with Roy Keane, and you knew he's coming in. I think I know your best gig, obviously the Ritz. What a moment that was. Maybe it might be something different. What's the worst gig you've ever played? If you had one where all the equipment's broke, you're playing to a man, this dog. I think it's important for other bands to me realize it is part of the journey, isn't it? Sometimes.
We all say you might say.
None of us wanted to tell the story, but we all just all looked at each other and went, "This Marseille."
I'll stay with this. It was good fun, but
Best gig and our worst gig, wasn't it? It was like,
yeah,
I still think Marseille was it was certainly it was probably our worst. If we describe it to you, you'd say, yeah, that all went terribly. That would be your worst gig. But it was just so funny, man. Like, it was just like not even in hindsight, like during as well, we were like, wow, everything's going wrong. This is a joke. But we think back, yeah, that's the it was like we've been touring the UK for 2 weeks, and then we've been touring France for a week. So we'd had a month on the road, and this was our last gig of the tour, and then I think we had like a month off after that. So we truly had completely, utterly ran out of fucks to give, and we had this gig in Marseille, and it was in this like sauna with I'd say the capacity was maybe about 80 to 100 people. Like, it was a really small room. Sound check only took 4 hours, I think, wasn't it? Couldn't get the click sorted, couldn't get the backing track sorted. When you got the backing track sorted, the click wasn't working. That was good. My brother was just getting absolutely rat-arsed across the road.
Didn't you leave and watch a full game and come back and it still wasn't done?
He did, yeah, mate. Yeah, he watched an entire Euros game. It was the first game of the Euros. He went out sober. He was like, "Yeah, I'll just catch a bit of this." Watched the entire game. Came in with a group of mates, and he was just smashed it. And we'd still not done sound check. Like it was absolutely mental. And so when we finally had done sound check, they said, "All right, we'll show you to your digs," which was upstairs in the venue. So we were staying in the venue, and the stairs from the stage led to our bedroom, didn't they? So like you could just when we, like 10 seconds before we were due on stage, we literally just sat on our beds, like
Mattress on the floor as well.
yeah. Like I remember the shower had no curtain, and it wasn't even in the
Or shower like hold of reboot. It's just a picture.
There's a corner of the room. It's in the center of the room, just on a podium. Yeah, he's like,
Everyone got a bit of a show, did they?
yeah, you just sort of like had to hold the shower above your head, and like you just don't know what to do. You're like what are the fucking rules here? Yeah, and there was like no soap or anything like that. You just sort of rinsed yourself. And yeah, but the gig itself, well, where to start? Yeah, came on. I didn't have anywhere to stand. There was a hole in the stage, and there was a plank of wood over it. I do like to move around sometimes on stage, but this stage did not give me that option. So I stood still. I think I did it in my sliders, to be honest. 30 dinner. Yeah, I'd done in my sliders. And there was just like a group of smashed people at the front, and they were there with the trays of shots, handing us shots on stage, and they were being rowdy basically throughout the gig, and they were talking through the slower songs like Good Life Better and Farming Done, and we were like, oh nah, this is a disaster. But then, we did Little Tom at the end, and they were singing along. They knew the fucking words, and we were like, oh right, these French people are all right. And then one of them just sort of speared into the monitor on stage, just completely pencil dive forward, landed basically on stage, crashed my wedge out in front of me. And I thought, these French people are not all right. And then that sort of happened. And then whilst we were doing the song, people were surrounding him, checking he was all right. So that was basically the entire crowd. and then when we walked off, dripping with sweat because it was still boiling, they had the audacity to chant for an encore.
Just hid behind the curtain.
We hid behind the curtain, thinking they'll go eventually. And out of nowhere, I heard my brother's smashed voice in the distance go, "If you keep chanting, they'll come back out." You're like, is he taking the piss?
No.
But yeah, that was Marseille, and then the day after that, we had a nice day in Nice, which was a bit of a quiet one. So yeah, it was a good little trip.
Totally uneventful.
The memories made from from that one show. I'm guessing you guys played it like it was fucking Wembley though, on the plank of wood, just going for it.
For sure.
Yeah, we always do. Yeah. So
I think that's when we're different from other bands anyway, because I think if they found themselves in a shit situation, they would sort of crumble in that shit situation instead of just enjoying it. Because there's so many people out there that will never get to that position anyway. And you'll be in either another country or another part of like the UK when you'd never expect to find yourself in. And you might be having a shit situation, but someone else would kill to be in that shit situation. So we just fucking enjoy it.
Mate, and if you're enjoying on stage, people watching along are going to be enjoying. I think it's great advice that. Does the band have a party trick? Is there anything you guys can do? Something that's going to...
Now can we get bottle caps off, well?
Just
anything with anything. Just
Tops with anything. Knob, pizza.
Sorry, knob and piece. They're the two things we go. Shag.
absolutely fantastic. Well, guys, there's obviously a lot of bands and artists that listen to this. If you go back and give yourself one bit of advice before starting music, what would it be, and why do you think it stuck with you?
I'd probably say the best trait you can have if you are an up and coming band is persistence and understanding that
you know, these bands that you see sort of blowing up straight away, you know, you don't know the groundwork they put in. Well, a lot of them are blowing up straight away. Thanks, TikTok, you bitch. But a lot of them are blowing up straight away. But that doesn't mean that they're gonna have sort of like a big fan base. Do you know what I mean? Views don't actually. I think that's one of the big lessons we've learned is that, you know, clicks and views and likes and listens don't actually equal heads in the door, and they don't equal people buying tickets. So it's just not to be disheartened when, you know, certain things don't go the way that you might think they will, and it is just a case of just keep knocking on heaven's door.
Also, I think try and be original. You don't have to copy. You can take inspiration, but don't straight up copy, because everyone just sees right through it and just become a mockery, won't you?
100%. 100%. Gotta be authentic. This podcast has been Spangled. Thank you so much, guys, coming on. No label, no album, a million streams, a sold out Ritz, and maybe even a debut album before the next World Cup, if we're lucky. Guys, I've interviewed a lot of people in this band. That was absolutely fantastic. A lot of cool lessons, a lot of great stories. Anyone listening that haven't checked out Spangled, go get them on social, Spangled Band. Go listen to their music. You will not be disappointed. Boys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, Josh.
Cheers, Ed and Josh.
Yep, sure.